budget cuts. Let's get into the budget cuts here. We got Donald Voorhees and Elon Myers going through slashing the budget. And every time we find out that something else is being cut or some, government leeches are being laid off, you'll see the same people go, is this what you voted for? This is what you... Yes, it is. This is exactly what I voted for. I'm tired of paying for this shit. You should be too. This is precisely what I voted for. Gut the federal government like a deer. Slash and burn, baby. Keep cutting it. It is so overbloated. And I'm not saying everyone who works for the federal government is a leech. I'm not saying that at all. There's a lot of very essential positions within the federal government. But there's quite a bit of waste as well. Audit it, identify the waste, get rid of it. Don't replace it with anything. Get rid of it. He's saying that looks like we're going to get 6,000 IRS employees are going to be laid off. By the way, did you guys know that the IRS is among the largest welfare distributors in the country? That's right. Over 30 million people receive tax returns that are larger than what they paid in throughout the entirety of the year. So they cut welfare checks to 30 million people. Just money back from the federal government. You and I are paying for that as well, one way or another. We've also got layoffs at the VA, at the Parks Department, you name it. Now, of course, we're seeing these tweets about staff being laid off, but they're intentionally vague. And I'm seeing a lot of objective claims being made with nothing to back it up. For instance, I saw someone say that they supposedly, on Facebook the other day, that they supposedly fired hundreds of suicide hotline operators at the VA. Ridiculous. There's absolutely nothing to back that up. When I asked for evidence, someone provided me with a link saying that people at the VA or employees at the VA were getting laid off, which is intentionally vague. They do that on purpose because for the most part, not everybody, but a lot of these people who are being laid off were not essential to the day-to-day functions. They weren't, and Trump is making sure that the people being laid off aren't customer-facing jobs. So suicide hotline, of course these people aren't being laid off. If they actually were, that would be front-page news, but they haven't provided one example of it yet, so we know it's bullshit. When you say VA employees are being laid off, that can mean a whole bunch of different things. That can mean they're laying off people who clean off the surgery beds. That can mean they're laying off people in the accounting department, secretaries who work on the computer, the night janitor. I mean, it can mean a whole bunch of different things who's being laid off at the VA when they say the same thing for the Parks Department. So I want to know exactly who these people are that are being laid off and what it is they do. The fact that you guys won't tell me what it is they do tells me all I need to know, because the VA is notorious for it, but it's a lot of different industry or a lot of different segments of the government. Federal employment for a lot of people has become an extension of the welfare system, because you get people that don't have a lot of skills, shall we say, or work ethic, and they'll take these cushy jobs in the federal government. They don't pay a great wage, but they pay $50,000, $60,000 a year. They come with good benefits, and then they get their friends and family jobs at the federal government. And the thing with these jobs is it is very, 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 very difficult to get fired from them. So they take these jobs, and then they just leech off of us. They do about a fourth of the work that they should, and they leech off the taxpayers. And it just becomes, just like the tax return, an extension of welfare that isn't accounted for in our federal budget. That's all this is. So I want to know what it is these people do that are being laid off first and foremost. I also find it incredibly telling that 90% of the criticisms I've seen, and there have been things you can criticize this administration for doing. We have an entire segment dedicated to it. But 90% of the criticisms I've seen on this administration have been, at best, a flat-out manipulation of the facts that are switched around to construe a message that they want. And at worst, outright objective lies. So the fact that you guys can't stand up with the fact that you guys can't go blow for blow with the actual truth to criticize this administration tells me they're actually doing a pretty damn good job. We've also got the head of the FDA in charge of the food department. Jim Jones has resigned. Can we pause for a second? Preemptively, he resigned to protest Trump. Can we pause for a second and point out the irony of the fact that the guy who decided what goes into our food and water's name was Jim Jones? As in, drink the Kool-Aid Jonestown cult leader Jim Jones. Can we admire the irony of that for a second? And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of people, and you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more of this. Pull this image up over here. No, pull the for sale image up. Sorry. These are the houses for sale in Washington, D.C. that have just been thrown on the market in the last week. The writing's on the wall. They know it. Not just that, some of the top Google searches in Washington, D.C. were immunity and extradition to the United States. People seeing which countries won't send them back here if they flee. The writing's on the wall. They see what's going on with these audits, and they know it's only a matter of time until they get caught. They're trying to get out of the city, and in many cases, trying to get out of the country. I think some people, you're going to see more of this, are going to step down preemptively so they don't get fired or don't get caught in an audit. Because if you step down preemptively and you're not an active employee, they're less likely to audit you and look into what you have or haven't been doing in your current role. So if you step down, they're not going to look into you all that much, right? They're only looking into people that are actively taking up money that they can get rid of for wasting the money, right? But if you step down, maybe they'll look over you in the audit. I think you're going to see a lot of people preemptively resigning here. Again, this is what I voted for. This is what I voted for. And DOGE, Department of Government Overreach, they haven't been perfect. Absolutely not. They haven't been perfect. But here's the thing. When they've made mistakes like they did with the Social Security thing, like they did with the nuclear staff, they've admitted to it publicly, said, we fucked up. We're not perfect. Do you know how many times in my lifetime a government agency has done that? Exactly none. None. The way I grew up, I'm conditioned to watching politicians get caught in a lie and then double down on that lie and wage a war for 10 years that gets tens of thousands of Americans killed, like Iraq. That's what I'm used to seeing. The fact that, they fucked up. They got a couple things wrong. The fact they admitted it and then went back and corrected those mistakes is a breath of fresh air. It's ironically the whole point, to figure out where the mistakes were being made and correct them. Now, every administration comes in and makes different cuts to different programs, right? That happens all the time. They make alterations to different departments within the executive branch of the federal government. That's normal. The reason they're spurging out about this is because Trump put a name on it, and he put a figure like Elon Musk in charge of it. That's it. That's the only thing there is. Here's what Maxine Waters had to say.
People of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know what all they have on us.
That's right. We don't know what all they have on us. Oh, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what they have on you. I can't wait, Maxine. You might want to resign too. You might want to step down too, by the way it sounds, because she's been one of the people that's been throwing, her and Chuck Schumer have been throwing a big fit about these audits. Big fit about these audits. So that's what I said. Thou doth protest too much. The ones that are really upset about the audits are the ones that probably have the most to hide. They're the ones making the biggest stink about it. We should look into them first. That's my opinion there. I also love Elon compromised all of our privacy because a government employee has your government-issued ID number. I did a whole rant about this last week on Saturday. Do you guys know who else Or you guys know what Elon did? Mia, do you know what Elon Musk, his claim to fame was before he did Tesla and Twitter and everything? He owned PayPal. Which has 426 million users, all of whom had to submit their social security number. So you guys that were so worried about Elon Musk, he already has your social security number. He has it with PayPal, you fucking idiots. Now, here's the thing. What you're seeing with this is the media's new way to attack Trump. And I actually think that this plays into the regime's hands quite well. Because what you're seeing here is they've realized they can't beat Trump on policy. They tried to do that in the first half of the 2024 election, got their asses kicked, had to pivot. They've realized they can't beat him on his personality. He is who he is. It's obviously not a deal breaker for most people. They tried that in 2016 and it didn't work. The one method they've had any amount of success with is the one they're going back to right now, which is fatigue. Fatigue is the most effective weapon against Trump. And the reason this plays into their hands so well is this is interchangeable. They can use this on Vance. They can use this on anybody they don't like. They just wear people down. They make it so you are tired of hearing about them. So when the next election rolls around, you vote for the other guy just to make the noise stop. That's what happened in 2020. That's what they're doing right now. This is the game plan. They've pivoted back. They've realized, oh, policies don't work. Let's just talk about it. Because whether you want to admit it or not, that wears on people. When all their family and friends, their conversations, their social media posts are centered around one guy and just pure negativity, that weighs on people subconsciously. And when it comes time to check that box, they may not vote the way they did 4 years ago. So essentially what we're going to get here is a cycle where we'll go through 4 years of an anti-establishment candidate. The media will fatigue the general populace of them by constant, just negative over speculation of everything they do, putting it under a tiny little microscope for stuff they would have let their opponents just gloss by. And then the next 4 years, we'll get an establishment candidate, probably a Democrat, who they'll ignore everything bad they do, but they'll actually do so poorly running the country, they'll drive it into the ground. And people go, wait, I liked that last guy. He was a little bit annoying, but things were a lot better under him. And they'll elect him. It'll be chaos for a couple of months. Things will slowly go back to normal, but they'll keep up the pressure. They'll keep up the full court press and the attack campaign on him. And the cycle will just repeat itself over and over again. Just the fatigue is their weapon. That appears to be the path we're headed down. And are things a little chaotic right now? Yes, absolutely. But what you guys got to realize, this is shock therapy, right? When Trump got elected in 2016, that was, hey, change your diet and exercise. Okay? Eat a little bit better. Get in 7,000 steps a day. Maybe go to the gym if you got time. Just live, stop smoking, live healthier. When he got elected in 2024, that was the heart attack. Now we've got the defibrillators and we're trying to bring you back to life. And it's not going to be fun when we put however many volts of electricity into your system like that. But it's got to be done. This is shock therapy. There's going to be an initial jolt that's going to be difficult to deal with. This all could have been prevented by eating better and exercising, but we didn't do that. Or we did it for a little bit and then we stopped. But we didn't do that, though. That's the important part. Now we've had the heart attack, and we've got to be revived with shock therapy. So it's going to sting a little bit. Things are going to be a little bit difficult and a little bit chaotic, but ultimately it's going to be for the better. Okay, let's go to the next segment here. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.